Describing the Mercedes-Benz SLK 55 AMG as a roadster is a bit like calling a racing yacht a boat, or referring to a fine Swartland Shiraz as a mere red wine. The generic description simply doesn't do the actual execution any justice. Now, this might be a fairly compact car with only 2 seats and a metal folding roof, but it isn't your common or garden roadster. AMG has been creating sledgehammer performance cars based on the Mercedes-Benz range of passenger cars for decades. With the normal SLK as a starting point, the SLK 55 AMG gets more muscular looks, together with the addition of splitters and diffusers, all ostensibly in the interests of better airflow and improved downforce. That said, the SLK 55 AMG is cut from more subtle, sleeker cloth than some of its wilder AMG predecessors. In a world where design is determined as much by efficient packaging, slippery aerodynamics and carbon footprints as it is by aesthetic considerations, brand identity has become increasingly important. The SLK 55 AMG gets the latest Mercedes-Benz face, including a large and upright grille and an even larger Mercedes-Benz badge. The result is slightly retro and definitely bold. The front's hungry intakes gulp large volumes of cooling air at speed, while the rear view is dominated by the almost rude presence of those 4 large oval exhaust tailpipes jutting from a deep rear apron. The bootlet is decorated with a slim arc of a lip spoiler, while the tapered taillight clusters create a V-shaped outline that emphasizes the car's muscle-bound rump. And then there's the roof. Back in 1996, the SLK was the first modern production roadster to introduce an all-metal folding roof. Today, folding tin tops are almost a given across much of the roadster and cabriolet landscape, and in the SLK's case, that roof is lighter and retracts quicker than ever before. However, as much as the comfort and convenience of closed-top motoring appeals in winter, a roadster is all about roof-down, wind-in-the-hair driving, and the SLK is no different. It also looks sexier with the metal hood safely stowed away, and your neighbours finally get to see who just won the lotto. Perhaps more importantly, though, the SLK's engine plays an arresting tune that is best enjoyed when driving with the roof down. The AMG badge is usually an indication that the engine will have all the subtlety of a sledgehammer, and certainly this is the most powerful engine ever to grace an SLK. It's a brand new 5.5-litre V8. Maximum power is 310 kilowatts, linked to 540 newton meters of torque. In the interests of more eco-friendly fuel consumption and exhaust emission figures, the big handcrafted V8 can shut off 4 of those 8 cylinders when its full power potential isn't needed, at cruising speeds, for instance. It's a process that happens completely seamlessly. The attractions of the cabin are more obvious, though. The SLK's cabin is an opulent mix of dark Napa leather and metallic accents, and it's filled to the brim with every conceivable feature. From a neck-level heating system called AirScarf to a custom-made Swiss analog watch, this is a cabin that cossets its occupants in comfort. Needless to say, there's only space for driver and passenger, but there's shoulder and legroom aplenty, while the boot will cater for much more than the dirty weekend duffel bag that used to be the signature of many roadsters, especially when driven in topless mode. As one would expect of an AMG product, the array of luxuries is comprehensive, while also reflecting this top-line SLK's performance status. Those high-backed, emphatically bolstered bucket seats are a case in point, offering ample comfort and vital support. The screen-based control interface looks and feels dated though, and the switchgear array is less than intuitive, but at least the sense of Teutonic quality remains undiluted. However, the real attraction of this Mercedes is centered around its considerable dynamic talents. Forget about all the luxury, forget about the advanced technology. When all is said and done, this car is all about raw, undiluted power. With a power-to-weight ratio of 192 kilowatt per ton, it's no wonder that it tries to burn rubber every time you prod the throttle, and that despite the stability control system. The factory figures prove just how fast this Uber SLK really is. The 0 to 100 km/h dash requires only 4.6 seconds to complete, while top speed is zealously limited to 250 km/h, although it's abundantly clear that there's potential for a far higher velocity. The SLK 55 AMG has been designed to go fast, and it does fast really well. At speed, it feels stable and controlled, and the steering loads up nicely so that you can provide positive and decisive inputs. By comparison, it's edgy and out of sorts around town, and the steering feels just too light. Besides, you have to be very careful with how you use the throttle on this car. Being circumspect with the accelerator will also benefit fuel consumption, although it has to be said that our test figure of around 12 litres per 100 kilometres was impressive, given that we drove the SLK with a certain level of intent. The SLK 55 AMG is a fine sports car, arguably one of the finest AMG cars ever built. It has aspirational looks, class-leading power and torque, lots of tech and an equal amount of kit too. But at just short of R1 million, it's also the most expensive car in its class. A high-tech, free-breathing V8 sounds great and goes even better, while the Autobox swaps cogs with percussive glee. The result is every bit as rapid as the stats suggest. The rest of the package links snappy styling and tin-top convenience to all the mod cons, but this car deserves the freedom of the open road, and pricing is steep.